Sometimes the past doesn't die. It just learns how to hide. And when it comes back, it doesn't come for forgiveness. It comes for revenge. When Antonio Cortez sped through the rain that night, he wasn't just racing to save his daughter. He was racing to confront a ghost that wore his face. Mercy General was chaos. Police lights reflected off wet pavement. Officers shouting, nurses crying, and in the middle of it all, one ICU room surrounded by yellow tape. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and tell me in the comments section where you are watching from. Now let's begin. Antonio pushed through the crowd. Where's my daughter? A paramedic shook his head. She's gone. Antonio froze. What do you mean gone? She's not in her room. No one saw her leave. Surveillance cameras disabled 10 minutes before the alarms. Detective Hale arrived seconds later, holding his radio tight against his chest. Security confirmed it wasn't a break-in, he said grimly. It was a transfer order, signed by your brother's name. Antonio felt the room tilt. His brother, Mateo, was supposed to be dead, and now, somehow, he had access to the hospital system, the police database, and Antonio's company. The past 30 years of lies began to unravel. Antonio leaned against the wall, whispering to himself. Why? Why would he do this? Detective Hale looked at him, his voice calm but cold. You sure you want to know? 32 years ago, two brothers built something out of nothing. A small construction firm. Hard work, sweat, and loyalty. But one of them, Mateo, was caught in something darker. Backdoor contracts, union bribes, smuggling equipment across borders. Antonio turned him in to the police to protect the business and his own name. The factory fire that killed Mateo, it wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up. And now Mateo was back, with every reason to destroy him. Antonio demanded access to the hospital's security feed. Every second mattered. In one frame, a nurse wheels Elena down a corridor. In another, an elevator door closes behind her. But just before the feed cut, a reflection appeared in the elevator glass. A man in a dark coat, scar on his cheek, and in his hand, Elena's necklace. Later that night, Hale and Antonio went back to the Cortez Company headquarters. The offices were dark, empty, except for one light, still glowing in Antonio's old office. Inside, the computer was on. A single email open. From Mateo Cortez at recapitalgroup.com. Subject, you wanted the truth? Come find me. Attachment, coordinates. Antonio opened them. A remote site in the industrial district. A shipping yard owned by Reese Holdings. Detective Hale shook his head. This could be a setup. Antonio's voice was low. It is a setup. He holstered the gun Hale handed him. But it's the only way I see my daughter again. The shipping yard loomed over the river. Dark cranes. Cargo containers. Cold air thick with diesel smoke. Antonio and Hale split up. One toward the control tower, one toward the docks. Antonio followed the sound of water dripping, footsteps echoing between steel walls. And then, he heard her voice. Elena, weak dad. He froze. Baby, where are you? Elena, he said you'd come. He said you'd have to see it. Antonio, see what? But before she could answer, a loudspeaker crackled to life above him. Voice, cold, calm. You left me to burn, brother. Now you'll burn for what you did. Every floodlight in the yard snapped on at once. Blinding white. And there he was. Mateo Cortez. Alive. Standing on a steel platform above the dock. One hand on the railing. The other gripping a detonator. Behind him, rows of containers. Each marked with Cortez and Reese Holdings. And inside those containers, dozens of stolen hard drives. Proof of everything. The fraud, the laundering, the shell companies. Mateo smiled. You built an empire on lies. Now you'll watch it sink. Antonio shouted. Where's my daughter? Mateo tilted his head. She's safe. For now. Detective Hale's voice came over the radio. Antonio, get out of there. The yard's wired. We found C4 under the central line. Mateo raised the detonator, finger hovering over the trigger. I waited 30 years for justice, he said. You turned me into a ghost. Antonio stepped forward. You're blaming the wrong man, Mateo. Reese used us both. He faked the fire. He made you believe I left you. For the first time, Mateo hesitated. His expression flickered. Pain, confusion, rage. But before he could answer, a gunshot split the air. Mateo stumbled backward, the detonator clattering to the floor. Antonio turned. and saw Gordon Reese emerging from the shadows, gun still raised. "Family drama's bad for business," Reese said coldly. He grabbed Elena by the arm, dragging her into view. Her wrists bound, tape across her mouth. "She's leverage. Nothing more." Antonio took a step forward, voice shaking. "You hurt her, and I swear." Reese cut him off. "You're going to help me, Tony. You're going to tell the police Mateo set the fire, and that he's behind all of this. You'll walk free, and I'll clean up the mess." He aimed the gun at Elena's head. "Or she dies." Antonio's pulse roared in his ears. Mateo, bleeding on the ground, reached weakly toward him. "Don't trust him, he'll kill you both." Antonio's hand inched toward the detonator lying near Mateo's body. Reese cocked the gun. "Choose, Tony, your daughter's life, or your legacy." Antonio looked from the detonator to Reese, to Elena, and then he smiled. "Legacy dies tonight." He pressed the trigger. When the smoke cleared, the yard was in ruins. Police found debris, blood, and shattered glass. No bodies. No Elena. No Antonio. No Reese. Only one thing survived. A single security feed still transmitting from the tower camera. The footage showed the fire raging, and two shadows walking away through the flames. One limping, one carrying something. As the camera zoomed, the smaller figure turned toward the lens. Elena's face, eyes wide, terrified, and beside her, the other figure leaned in, whispering something before disappearing into the dark. The voice was unmistakable. It wasn't Antonio. It wasn't Reese. It was Mateo, the brother who never died, had taken the only thing Antonio ever lived for. They say every story has an ending, but the truth is, some endings don't bring peace. Some only bring the silence after a scream. After the explosion at the Reese shipping yard, the world assumed Antonio Cortez and his brother Mateo were dead. But a week later, a grainy highway camera caught something impossible: a young woman with bruised wrists, and a man with a scar on his cheek, boarding a train headed north. Elena Cortez was alive, and she wasn't running away. She was following a plan. Elena sat by the window, staring at her reflection. Her father's face haunted her mind, his last words echoing over the explosion. "Legacy dies tonight." She had thought he was gone forever, until the night before, when she found the message. A voice recording sent from an unknown number. Crackled, broken, but clear enough to freeze her blood. Antonio's voice. "Lena, listen to me. If you're hearing this, I'm still alive. Mateo has me. He thinks I'm broken. I'm not. He's after the files, the ones you hid before the hospital. He doesn't know you kept a copy." Antonio's voice. Through soot and rain. "Dad." He held her close for the first time in years. "I thought I lost you." "You didn't," she whispered. "Not yet." The operatives fired. Antonio shoved Elena behind a pillar. One bullet grazed his leg. Another hit Mateo, driving him to the ground. The fight was quick, violent. When the echo faded, two operatives lay still in the dirt. Antonio's gun smoked in the rain. He turned to Mateo, blood spreading across his brother's chest. Mateo looked up at him, eyes clouded with regret. 30 years, Tony. I spent 30 years hating a lie." Antonio knelt beside him. "I did too, brother." Mateo smiled weakly. "Then maybe we can end it right this time." He pressed a small flash drive into Antonio's hand. "The truth. All of it. Take it." Antonio shook his head. "Come with us." Mateo exhaled, voice fading. "I already did my part." And then silence. By sunrise, the police arrived. The site was cleared. Antonio and Elena sat in the back of an ambulance. Exhausted, broken, but alive. She looked at him, voice trembling. "What's on that drive?" Antonio stared at it for a long moment. "The names. The accounts. Everything Reese buried. Everything your uncle died for." He handed it to Detective Hale. "End this." Hale nodded, and for the first time in years, Antonio Cortez felt free. 2 weeks later, the story hit every major outlet in the country. Corporate corruption, false identities, criminal embezzlement spanning decades. Gordon Reese was found dead in a motel room in another state. A single bullet to the head. No suspects. No witnesses. Some said it was suicide. Others whispered it was something else. That night, Elena sat by her window, watching the city lights shimmer through the rain. A knock at the door startled her. She opened it slowly and found a small envelope on the floor. No return address. Just her name in her father's handwriting. Inside was a photograph. Her and Antonio, smiling, taken that morning at breakfast. And beneath it, one line written in black ink. Legacy doesn't die, it changes hands. She smiled faintly until she noticed something else. A faint watermark on the corner of the photo. A logo. Reese Holdings. Elena stared out into the darkness, realizing that even after all the fires, all the lies, and all the blood, some things never stay buried. Because sometimes, the system doesn't destroy evil. It inherits it. And in the glow of the city lights, a car waited at the curb, engine idling, headlights off. Inside, a man washed her apartment window. His hand rested on a briefcase. Embossed in gold were two initials, AC. Her father had survived the fire, but maybe the man who walked out of it was never the same one who went in. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Kindly subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and like this video. See you in the next video.